Hey, good morning, Internet. We're here preparing for the U-Lead Summit at the MSTC in Arusha, Tanzania. I'm lucky this morning to be walking with the Executive Director of the Center, Ezra. Say hello and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ezra Mbogori, and I work here at TCDC.
Yeah, well, it's not every day I get a chance to chat with someone who has rubbed shoulders with Nelson Mandela, but here you are in the flesh. The reason I wanted to talk to you today is not so much about the conference that's coming up, but a little bit about your work in kind of the Pan-Africanism movement, your work with the Swahili language, and what this really means.
Well, the notion of Pan-Africanism is something that we're very passionate about, because Africa has often been described as a sleeping continent, and Africa has potential. Everybody talks about the potential that Africa has, which has not been exploited. And we think that Pan-Africanism is really the system that can unleash some of that potential.
Can you tell me a little bit, for our international audiences who aren't that familiar with the politics and stuff here, what is kind of at its definition Pan-Africanism?
Pan-Africanism is the approach of working together. It's the drawing of all energies within Africa for the common good. It involves like recognizing what our abilities are, what our possibilities are, and enabling every African to achieve their potential.
Yeah, man.
It is being part of the process of recognizing and appreciating and allowing every African to explore what possibilities there are for them, and to recognize how each one of them complements the other on an ongoing basis,
And the East African Parliament supports this mission?
The East African Parliament, yes, is fully behind the notion of Pan-Africanism. Now, you see, right from the times of African liberation, there was a recognition that we needed to work together, that bringing in forces that help each other to achieve independence, for instance, was the prerogative of every African.
Yeah.
And now, the next thing is to look at the next level of liberation. I mean, you probably heard about the African Union and about, the vision of the African Union, Africa 2063.
Yes.
And what we want to, what is desired achievements for that time. Pan-Africanism feeds into that. The idea is to achieve those things and leave Africa better than it was before. Make some sort of progress that enables Africans to achieve in the world.
And then the work you're doing here at MSTC to support that mission, I've noticed a lot has to do around the Swahili language and your expertise there. Can you talk to me a little about how these things tie together?
TCDC, you see, started off as a language training facility. We were teaching the Swahili language to Danish volunteers at the time.
Right.
But then that has evolved over time and has grown to the point where we teach Swahili now to a whole lot of other constituencies. And we see Swahili as being, because a language can be a really important integrating factor. And so,
obviously the identity and the communication at the very,
So teaching Swahili widely, beyond just, say, foreigners who might want to learn Swahili, teaching Swahili even to Africa itself could provide that glue.
Yeah, the solid foundation.
And, and eventually, Swahili, I think, will become, it is headed towards becoming one of the global languages.
Can you give me a little shout out in Swahili for the speakers out there?
Habari zenu.
I really appreciate you walking and talking with me.
Fine.
We're getting near the end here, but is there anything else you'd like to share with the delegates that are back home preparing to come here at MSTCDC for the U-Lead Summit?
We look forward to some really interesting conversations. We look forward to building people's sense of spirit and enthusiasm for not just Pan-Africanism, but giving young people that sense of confidence in their future in Africa.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ezra. KK and Ezra signing off as we prepare for the U-Lead Summit at MSTCDC.
Good.
Over and out.